In your Google Classroom page, you will see the full geometry syllabus. I highly recommend that you read through all of it so that you are aware of all of the information that it entails. A quick, brief overview is that students are going to need a Chromebook for this class. You can use a personal device, but we highly recommend that you use a JCPS provided device. You should not be working on a tablet or a cell phone. You will not have the ability to complete all of your assignments because those types of devices are not compatible with some of the applications that we use at Pathfinder. All of your coursework will be in Google Classroom. We will follow the IM curriculum, which I'll discuss in a moment, and many of our assignments will be in the platform that is known as IXL. Again, I highly recommend that students are writing down their work for every question that they do, whether it's in class or on an assignment, and also notes as well. You are free to use a calculator, and throughout class, I will absolutely support you in your use of that calculator, showing you how to use it anytime that it would be a good support system for you. The IM curriculum is a problem-based curriculum. Essentially, every single day, we will have a warm-up to get our brain thinking. We will follow one or more instructional activities to make our learning visible. We will go through a lesson synthesis, which will tie all of the learning that we did at the earlier part of the lesson together. And then we will have a cool down, which will be a refresher of everything that we learned. This year, high schools will be focusing on standards-based grading, which is an approach to grading that focuses on evaluating students' mastery of specific learning standards rather than traditional methods like points or behavior. Grades will reflect a student's progress and mastery of specific predefined learning standards aligned with Kentucky State standards. In education, standards are clear, written descriptions of what students should know and be able to do at each grade level. They define the learning goals for a specific subject area, outlining the knowledge and skills students should acquire, guiding instruction and assessment. Standards-based grading uses rubrics or performance descriptors, like you see here on the screen, to clearly outline what proficiency looks like for each standard, providing students with specific feedback on their strengths and areas for improvement. In truth, teachers have always been using standards to guide the learning. We are now going to make it more forward-facing and explain to the students what the standard is and assess them on individual standards. This might look different in several different types of classes. Students in geometry class will be given a rubric at the beginning of every single unit that is specific to the standards that we will cover. This that you see here on the screen is a general rubric that we're going to use most of the time to give us an idea of what grade we will receive based on different types of progression or mastery assignments that we might cover. We will use IXL often. In IXL, there's something called a SMART score. You can see on the screen, different values of SMART score is represented by different letter grades or percentage grades. One of the main differences that you will find with standards-based grading is often teachers will give grading marks of 4, 3, 2, or 1. That is not the number of points a student has earned. It represents the level of mastery a student has on a specific topic. 4 means the student has exceeded expectations. 3 means they meet expectations. 2 means they are approaching expectation. And 1 means that they need improvement. One of the tenets of standards-based grading is that students have the ability to redo assignments to ensure that they are progressing towards mastering the standards. That will be followed in this class as well, and students will have the ability to redo progression assignments as well as mastery assignments to work towards improving to the letter grade that they're hoping for. And we will also have intervention opportunities, which will support students in their goals of achieving mastery. You can see here a few class policies regarding due dates, retakes, intervention, and exceeds expectation. So our due dates are very flexible in this class. Progression assignments will be able to be turned in at any point during a unit. Once the unit has been completed, students will have 1 week beyond that to get all of their progression assignments in. Otherwise, those assignments will become a 0. It is my highest recommendation that students are doing their progression assignments and turning them in on the recommended due date, but there is flexibility to turn the assignments in earlier or later. I do not recommend students waiting to turn everything in until the due date. That would be a burdensome amount of work to do in a short amount of time. Working consistently throughout the unit is the best course of action for learning. Students will be able to turn the mastery assignments in at any point during the semester. Again, I highly recommend that students turn them in on or around their due date to avoid the potential of forgetting information and performing poorly on a mastery assignment. Students will have the ability to redo progression assignments. Students can simply continue working on that assignment and resubmit the assignment to be regraded. That can happen at any point until the final due date of the progression assignments within that unit. Students will be able to retake a mastery assignment at any point throughout the semester. In order to be able to retake a mastery assignment, a student must have completed all of the progression assignments that aligns with that standard that the mastery assignment is covering and communicate with me about that. If a student needs to retake a mastery assignment more than once, then the student will need to meet with me to receive one-on-one intervention before retaking the mastery assignment again. Intervention simply means help and support. I highly recommend that students are receiving help and support during the progression period of assignments, working towards the full learning scope before students take a mastery assignment. Students can receive intervention through WIN sessions. There's also IXL videos embedded within the IXL platform. Students can use the paper tutoring app, which is linked in Clever. Students can also use the resources and video lessons that I provide embedded within the Google Classroom course. And finally, I would love for all of my students to exceed my expectations in all standards assessed throughout this year. In order to do so with progression assignments, students need to simply continue working on their progression assignment and answer the toughest questions within that assignment. That means that students will need to earn a 90 through 100 SMART score in the assignment. Students can continue to work on that assignment until they get the goal that they would like to achieve, provided it is within the due date period. In order to exceed expectations on a mastery assignment, students must show their learning in some way. The way that they can do it in geometry class on mastery assignments is to show their work for all questions on the mastery assignment. They can simply do that by writing their work for all questions on a notebook piece of paper, taking a photo and uploading it with their mastery quiz. Or students can make a video of them explaining the level 3 question on that mastery assignment. This is something that I will make sure that students are aware of and help guide them through the process as they progress in this course. I highly recommend that students are always showing their work and always submitting their work with all mastery assignments. To recap, in this video, we talked about our class schedule. Students should arrive to all of their classes on time, most especially their geometry class, be in class daily, and students can get support during my WIN sessions using the Meet Code PSI Corbeil. All of the work for geometry will be found in Google Classroom, and many of the assignments will be in the IXL platform, but that will be linked through Google Classroom as well. It is highly recommended that students attend class on a daily basis. That is how they will find themselves most successful in this class. If students miss class, they're welcome to look through Google Classroom for all supports and resources so that they can catch up on the learning. Students should be kind to each other and to themselves, participate in class, and always assume positive intent. We talked about our illustrative math curriculum, standards-based grading, and class policies. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm very excited to have you as a student this year.